Moi everyone and welcome to Finish Your Plate. Sausages. All Finns love them grilled in summertime, even straight out of the fridge cold, but you can also use them in recipes. I came across this recipe, which is kind of like a fusion between Finnish and American cooking. It is sausage mac and cheese, or Makkaramäkkäri, as I like to call it. It combines that creaminess of the mac and cheese with the sausage, which in this case I toasted so that it's crunchy. So join me and I'll show you how to make this Finnish fusion dish. For my sausage, I'm going to use some knockwurst. This is very similar to the Finnish sausage that you could find at any grocery stores in Finland, which is pretty much the standard sausage in Finland. So knockwurst, like the Finnish sausage, is mildly smoked pork sausage, and it has a very fine emulsified texture. This one is also a natural casing, but what we're going to do is we're just going to peel off the casing first. Let's open up this package. Just going to slice this open and peel the casing off. The casing comes off pretty easily once you score it. And now I'm going to dice this sausage in relatively small dices. Now I'll turn on my heat and I'm going to shallow fry these pieces until they're crispy. So while my sausage is frying away, I'm going to grate up some cheese. I have a couple of odds and ends of cheese, but in Finland, the most popular cheeses would be Swiss cheese or Gouda. And I'm going to use both of those, but in mac and cheese, you probably want to have a couple of different types of cheese to add a little bit of different flavors and different textures. But one thing is to add some cheese product like American cheese, Velveeta, something soft and spreadable cheese product, because it has sodium citrate in it, which is going to help keep your mac and cheese smooth and creamy and not having it curdle. Okay, so our sausage is now nice and crispy. So I'm just going to fish it out. I'm going to try to reserve most of the oil. Now in my hot oil, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. So we're going to make a roux. Roux by itself also will help the cheese from separating or curdling, or rather separating, because it's already curdled before, but it will prevent it from the fat from separating from the cheese, which can happen. In here I'm going to add just about a teaspoon, maybe a little less, of granulated garlic and paprika. And now we're just going to add some milk into our roux. In this case, I did not use a whole lot of flour, so it's not going to get very thick. But we can already see that it got thicker, which is pretty much what we want. A lot of times when I make mac and cheese, I end up making the sauce way too thick, which ends up not working very well, so I'm making a little bit thinner sauce this time. This seems a pretty good consistency, maybe a little bit more milk. There we go. That was maybe about, I want to say half a cup, maybe a cup at most. And I'm gonna add my sliced cheese product in here. There we go. turn down the heat just a little. It's a little bit too hot. And here goes the cheese product, which includes the sodium citrate. In Finland, typically you would use either koskenlaskia, is a popular cheese product in Finland, or viola cheese. Those are both very popular. What's funny is sometimes I see Finns making fun of American cheese. It's a cheese-like product, it's plastic, whatever. But then Finns love koskenlaskia cheese, which is exactly the same product, really. How koskenlaskia got started originally was there were some end pieces of Swiss cheese, and to use those, product was made to really melt them into a single block of soft cheese by using, they called melting salts. So now I'm gonna add my other grated cheese, a little bit at a time. Just gonna let this all melt in here before adding the next batch of cheese. Okay, all the cheese is in now and it's pretty much melted, so let's give the sauce a taste. Let's taste for salt, spices. Of course, if you wanted to, you could add things like cayenne to this to make it a little spicy. I'm actually going to add maybe about a tablespoon of pickle juice in here to add a little bit of a tartness, a little bit of salt too, and flavor. You could of course add things like hot sauce to add that little briny flavor to it. Okay, I'm going to turn off the heat now. Sauce is pretty much ready. We just need our macaroni or pasta shells in this case. Okay, my pasta shells are now cooked. I'm actually not sure if I have too much shells compared to sauce, so I'm gonna mix the shells in here rather than the other way around. And we're gonna add our pieces of sausage. I'll reserve a few pieces just to leave them on top. And now I'm going to fill up my ramekins. And I'm going to top these off with a couple pieces of sausage. And these are going to go under the broiler just so that they can get a little bit of color. Just a little bit, that's it. So only a couple minutes. All right, let's try our Makkaramäkkäri. This is a pretty simple dish. It's a pretty nice side dish for a lot of things. It can be eaten even by itself, and it does combine that sausage, the saltiness of the sausage, saltiness of the cheese, which is a pretty classic combination on itself. And it just adds the pasta as an additional texture kind of a thing. Overall, this is a nice little dish. And you could definitely play around with it quite a bit, depending on what kind of cheeses you use. You could use some smoked Gouda here, for example, or whether you want to put something spicy like cayenne pepper, or instead of using pickle juice, you could use juice from a jar of jalapenos, for example. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.